Okay, the following is from a website which I will give credit to, and also a book by Robert Bly called Iron John, which they quote on this website. So I'll leave that information there, but I want to read it because it really seems to reflect kind of what I felt was going on the other side of my recent difficulty with the person. So I'm just going to start reading it. I'm sorry to be reading, but I just can't put it any better myself. If a man has been compromised early in life by someone in a position of trust, maybe even a family member, it can cause him to be resentful, defensive, and with a need to get even or to escape. He may adopt a persona as a shield against trauma and take on various affectations of being unavailable, such as the selfish macho man or the overly effeminate man, or he may become obese or somehow aloof and untouchable in some way. In a revolt against the earthly, the conservative, the possessive, he may begin a long ascent into flight upward and become the ascending sun, the Peter Pan, or eternal boy, the moth mad for the light. And then the quote from Peter Bly, he may develop a fantasy about an almost impossibly idealistic relationship that somehow never quite gets within reach. The more he reaches for magic or ecstasy, the more unapproachable he becomes. He may begin to lose respect for others and sit in an ivory tower, holding court over a group of admirers who he sees as all wanting favors. There are so many fans, a sort of collection of them, and he endlessly juggles them. Occasionally, if he feels particularly needy, and especially if he is inebriated in some way, he may become vulnerable, especially if they offer some bait that interests him, and may deign to grant favors if he feels indulgent or if he receives homage he considers worthy. But if he allows any of his subjects to get too close, they may get too involved, so he has to renounce them. Such grandiosity might well have protected him as a child, but it now confounds and confuses him. He feels duped by women and manhandled by men. He may often feel vaguely discontent or lonely. He doesn't understand why so many people avoid him. He may come to view the world and those in it as being essentially flawed, unattractive, or needy in some way. He may choose not to procreate, but he may be very creative in certain ways, but he is basically suspicious of practical and wholesome like discipline and loyalty. The risk is that he is in danger of becoming numb, indifferent to the consequences of his own actions, and may escape into drug or alcohol addiction.